Hello, and thank you for clicking on the video. This video is a follow-up to the field training officer video that I have posted in the past. Some of you have thanked me for the video, for sharing personal, professional experience and information, and hopefully the information that I'll provide to you in this video will continue to help you. So you finished the police academy, and you report to the police station, and everyone at your department is happy to see you. You mean new recruits, you mean fresh ideas, fresh officers, and you mean that they're gonna have relief on some of these calls because they've been busy, maybe they're low on number of officers, etc. So they're all waiting for you to go through the training program so you can be released. So there is constant pressure, by the way, on getting you to go through the program and getting released so you can go out there and handle calls. And what I just told you is basic information. It's not anything new. It's you probably already know this, but I'm just letting you know what the other officers that are not the training officers, the FTOs, what they're looking to get out of you, right? And so then the training officers themselves, they want, what do they expect from you, right? The recruits. First of all, forget all of your life experience because, when you're in training program, no one cares. And so if you're going to be talking yourself up left and right, I've done this, I've done that, I've been here, I've been there, you're immediately going to get a reputation that you're a know-it-all and that you won't stop talking about yourself. So that's going to be the hardest thing for you, by the way. When I was a training officer and I would get a recruit, I would tell them, first of all, get used to the word like shut your face or shut up or sit there and be quiet and don't interrupt. These are all things that you need to get used to. You need to get used to constructive criticism. So from the field training officer, FTO's perspective, we just want you to be quiet. We want you to be quiet, and we want you to listen, and we want you to watch, and we want you to observe what you're going to see in the police car, right? We want to see you succeed, but if you become more work to us than you're worth, you're not going to do well in the training program. So, these are points to remember. Again, some of you may have experience prior to getting to law enforcement in different things, and you can certainly have a conversation about it. But, I as a training officer don't want to hear about your life story. I as a training officer want for you to learn all this stuff you're supposed to be learning so that we're going to get through the shift. So some of the things that I want to start off with, I mentioned this in the previous video. We talked about personal hygiene. We talked about your attitude. We talked about you not sharing your personal life with your training officer because a lot of your faults, you as a trainee, as a rookie, as a boot, as we call you, is going to have diarrhea of the mouth, and you're gonna, for some reason, think that we're your buddies. We're not your buddies. We're here to observe you, to see if you're going to be a good fit and to see if you're going to make it. So, again, if you haven't seen the first video, please watch the first video on Field Training Officer Program and the second video and the third video so that you don't put your foot in your mouth. Being confident is something that I can't teach you, but it's something that you can act like when you're in the training program. You have to be confident. You have to have good eye contact, and you have to have good command presence. And what is that exactly, Brian? What is good command presence? I mean, look at how officers stand, right? Look what you were taught in the academy, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed, one foot slightly forward, the other foot back in case somebody pushes you. You're not going to fall on your ass. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to let somebody jump on you. So it's the way you stand, your command presence, the way you're, look at me, I just kind of toughen up a little bit, Don't slouch your back, don't act like you're a little pushover, that you're not confident, that you're kind of timid. Those kind of things, that body language really tells me as a training officer on day one that you got some issues and I may not be able to fix those issues. So these are all things. So personal hygiene, as I mentioned in the first video, definitely have good personal hygiene. Buy some really bright white t-shirts. I would buy at least 6 of those suckers, right? JCPenney's, I believe, used to have the best white t-shirts for law enforcement. They're Stafford t-shirts. You can wash those things over and over and they stay bright white. And so that's the kind of shirts you want to wear. Also, you're going to be sweating under that bulletproof vest and the uniform and all the stuff you're going to be wearing. So it's important to have a bright white t-shirt, and you're supposed to have a bunch of them. When they start getting yellow because of your sweat around your neck, throw them away. Listen to me, throw them away. Yeah, you're gonna say, but Brian, I could bleach them. You could, but why would you, right? You want to make the best possible impression on your training officer, right, on your department. So you're going to be doing the white t-shirts, okay, especially during the day. I know that some of you work nights, will be working nights, and the training officer says, hey, if you're working nights, I'd appreciate it if you wear a black t-shirt under your uniform, and please do. Now, one thing you will never do, okay? Never wear your uniform without a t-shirt. Never wear your uniform without a t-shirt. Why? Because your vest is gonna stick to your body, and you're gonna sweat, and you're gonna smell, and then your vest, you know, the actual part of your vest that holds your vest in place is gonna hold body odor, and you're gonna smell like shit, and people are gonna treat you like shit. And so body odor is a huge thing. Body odor is a huge thing. So buy those white shirts from JCPenney, and no, I'm not getting a promo from them, but you need to know this, right? Again, for nights, wear black t-shirts, right? I like black t-shirts from H&M. You know, they're very, you know, they fit good, and they're black, and they have a really nice neckline. Now, if you're wearing a polo shirt, on patrol, you still will wear a t-shirt under that polo shirt, and you never button up that polo shirt all the way to the top unless you're a gang member. Okay, listen to me. You're gonna button up the first 2 buttons, but not the last one, unless you're a gang member. And you're a police officer, so you're not gonna be a gang member. So pay close attention to that. If you show up to work and you have a polo shirt that you're wearing on patrol from 511 Tactical or whatever, and you have it buttoned up all the way to the top, they're gonna make fun of you, and righteously so. You will not look professional. The only time we really button up the last button on our uniform is when we go to court and we have to wear a tie with our uniform. And if you ever wear a tie, you're gonna get the one that's a quick release. In case somebody pulls your tie, it just comes off your uniform. Never, ever wear a regular tie in your uniform, because somebody will strangle you with it and you will choke to death. That will only happen once, so I hope you don't do that. Okay, so uniform, appearance, confidence is important. Also listening, right? I know that a lot of you watching this video, you guys have been used to the internet. You can Google anything, you can YouTube everything, and that's fine. But I gotta tell you, having been a training officer, you gotta make split-second decisions. And when I, as a training officer, ask you a question on what department policy is on responding to this call or to that call, you're not gonna have a chance to Google it. You're not gonna have a chance to YouTube it. You're gonna have to know from memory. So you better start learning, listening, studying the department policies and procedures, right? And when you're at work, you're at work. You leave your shit at home. You leave your personal problems at home. You leave your family problems at home. You leave your bad personality at home. When you're at work, you're a public servant, and when you're in a training program, you're supposed to be listening and learning and representing your department well. Your chief, your sheriff, whoever you work for wants to have a professional person. That leads me to my next point, your mouth. Your mouth can be the most dangerous part of your entire uniform when you're in uniform working patrol. You can escalate things, and you can also de-escalate things. But once things come out of your mouth, it's like that whole saying in the Bible that once you throw the stone, you can't take it back. So why am I covering this part in this video? Because do not have diarrhea of the mouth. Like, shut your mouth. Like, listen, right? Listen. Just listen, right? You know, kind of like if you worked your 8, 10, like I was working 11-hour shifts on patrol. At the end of 11-hour shifts, I would ask you, hey, what did you learn? Like in the car, I would say, hey, what did you learn at the end of the shift? What did you learn? And so I hope you're able to summarize, oh, I learned how to handle this call. I learned about this type of police reports. I learned how to interview a suspect. I learned how to do this. I learned how to do that. That's what I want from you at the end of the shift, okay? I don't want at the end of the shift when I say, what have you learned? And you say, well, I learned how to be a police officer. You learned how to be a police officer in the academy, but in the training program today, in this past shift, what have you learned, right? So be prepared for that kind of question. All right, one more thing, and then I'll probably end this video. Directions, right? You guys are all used to GPS, and you're used to being able to plug in your address into Google Maps or other map programs like Waze, etc. But when you're working in law enforcement, you need to know your north, south, east, west. So when you're driving your private vehicle, we call it POV, when you're driving your POV, your private vehicle, and you're not at work, you should start telling yourself, maybe if you have one of those cars that shows what direction you're going, you should say, oh, I'm currently driving northbound. I'm currently driving southbound. I'm currently driving eastbound. I'm currently driving westbound. So then if you're going southbound and you turn right, you're now going eastbound. And then if you're going eastbound and you turn right, now you're going northbound. And this is very important for you to get, like really quick. Like on day one, you should have this information down where you basically know your directions, right? Learn how to read maps. Learn, go to your fire department at your city. Ask them for a book map. Ask them for where to get a book map. Usually they're made by Compass. A company called Compass makes book maps. Learn how to read coordinates on book maps. A1, B7. Learn how to do that whole triangulation so that you can find an address. Where is Smith Street? You go on the back of the legend, Smith Street's on page 17. You open up page 17 and it says Smith Street is on page 17, B2. And you open up the page to the B section, you go down to 2, go along the line, and there's Smith Street. And now, hopefully you know where you are before you head to Smith Street, right? So before you start driving, you know where you're going from. Get used to listening to the radio. I've mentioned this in my first video all the time. So if you're having a conversation with your training officer and all of a sudden a call comes in, no, I didn't pause the video. I want you to learn this. Like, turn off your voice. Like, listen for the radio. Listen for your call sign. Know your call sign, right? So if you're having a conversation, your call sign is, mine was Y61, and Y61. Now you're listening for the call. And then when you respond to a call, you're the backup officer to another officer. You're basically going to tell the other officer where you're coming from, right? So, you answer to the call. You say, I'll be en route from such and such location, right? That way your backup officer knows what direction you're coming from, how far out you are, etc., right? Learn to stage on calls. Learn that your uniform shouldn't have anything rattling. At nighttime, remember, when you get out of the car, don't slam the car door. Park 2 or 3 houses before the call. Learn how street numbers on both sides of the street work. One side's even, one side's odd. Sometimes they jump by 2s or 4s depending on where you work. So anyway, that's enough. We've spent almost 15 minutes together just talking about officer safety, field training officer program, and I hope that you got a lot out of it. As you watch this video and you think of, you know what, Brian, can you share some ideas about this, and this? Please, on the comments section, if you haven't already subscribe, but on the comments section, go down below and type, hey, Brian, Dr. Brian, can you cover this, and that? And then I will be sure to include that information down here. I guess that's pretty much it. I hope you're paying attention to these videos. I'm sharing life experience, over 23 years in law enforcement, as a peace officer in different positions, and then a long time before that as a police explorer and police dispatcher, and I was a background investigator for a while. So also, if you have background investigation questions, please reach out to me. I know this video is watched by people all over the world, but it's mainly applies to people who are going for law enforcement positions in the United States, and specifically in California. I know it's very similar in other states, but anyway, pay attention, because all the things that I share with you, I share information that you cannot find in books, that no one's going to teach you in the academy, that this is all common sense, that the majority of you should have known before you step foot in a patrol car. Okay, so the video is ending. I love you guys. Please be safe. Please practice officer safety. Don't get involved in anything controversial, and we'll talk to you soon.